Let's make a gemstone lover's knot ring together.
Hey there, welcome. I'm Amrita from Artistry Jewelry, and today we are going to make a ring like this one.
I will link the video for the basic lover's knot ring up in the cards and down in the description below.
Materials you will need: 14 gauge copper wire. If you've not worked with copper this thick, you could go down to 16 gauge as well, but the ring I'm wearing is a 14 gauge one. You would get a similar effect with 16 gauge too. It would just be a little thinner and easier to work with. So if you want to start with the 16 and then you can make your other one with the 14.
You will also need 24 gauge wire, about 6 inches should do. And two 4mm gemstones of your choice. Here I'm using ruby and pearl.
And then tools you will need: a ruler, the standard bent nose pliers, needle nose pliers, a 6-step looping plier, a wire cutter, which is a flush cutter, a file, a rubber mallet, a ring mandrel. I'm using a heavy stainless steel mandrel because I can hammer against it. But if you don't have this and you only have a plastic ring mandrel, that will work too, because we aren't really going to do much to texture this ring. And then this is just to help shape it. You would also need a jeweler's hammer, but most of our work will be done with these two. We're going to make ourselves a ring about size 9. But what you will do to cut the wire is take the circumference of the ring. You could just use a string to go around it and see how big that is for the size that you want. So this is about 3 inches for a size 9. And then I'm going to add another 4 inches, cutting a little extra so we don't worry about running out of wire when we're making these wraps. So I'm cutting myself about 7 inches of this wire. I'm going to use my flush cutter and flush cut that one end, and then we can clean this other end up later. So if we want a size 9, we will start with a 9.5, because by the time we wrap these around it, it will reduce the size. So between a 9.5 and a 10, I'm going to start with a 9.5 and go around it to get that to its midpoint, so there's kind of equal on both sides. So we're just going to make this ring around the 9.5 mark. Again, remember, it's about half to 1 size larger than the size that you want. And then I'm going to hold the mandrel down. Ideally, if you have a way to fix it to your desk, that would be ideal. Or you can hold it between your desk and your chest so that you have this position. But since I can't do that on camera, I'm just going to try to do that here and hold it in place. And what we're going to do is twist the wire to make that hook. So I'm going to hold that down, make one loop with this wire, get it up like that, and then hold that with my thumb and turn the other one over. So we're going to be making a hook like that, so that both the ends hooked together. So as you can see, they overlap here, and that's what I'm doing. And then we're going to continue. You can see I'm still holding it at that 9.5 mark, and we're going to continue to wrap all the way around. There we go. Can you see that shape is already forming right there? And I'm just going to adjust it just so that I feel like both sides are kind of the same size. There we have it. And then I'm going to hold the two wires together and straighten that out like that. And then we are going to wrap that wire around the base wire of the ring Now this is really hard wire, so you might need to use 2 pairs of pliers to get it. Even though it's dead soft, this is tough wire because it's thick. So I've knotted one side and I'm going to do the other side as well. Hold that down and wrap the other side around the base wire as well. So again, using my second pair of pliers to pull that over. If you're really finding 14 gauge too hard to work with, start with an 18 or 16 so that you get the hang of working with thick wire before and shaping it before you move on. So there, the ring is forming, as you can see, forming that shape. Now I'm going to wrap this a couple of times. And then I'm going to cut the wire on top of the ring because I don't want it to catch in the skin or cut. So on the top like that, and then we're going to file it down so it doesn't catch in anything. And here's where I will flush cut that wire. Remember to hold that piece so it doesn't go flying. See, cut that up there. I'm going to do it with this one as well. There we go. And now I'm just going to press those edges down. See, there's the ring. Now if you want it a little rounded, this is a little elongated, you could use your pliers to shape those. Make it a little more rounded. There we go. And now I'm going to slip it back on the ring mandrel. You see, it's at about a size 9. And I'm going to use my rubber mallet to just hammer that and shape it in place. Make sure it's rounded all around. Run your finger against that to make sure it's not catching, and if you find that there is burrs there and it's a little rough, gently file that down. There we go, and that will smoothen that off. There we go, that's done. So here I have a little ruby that I could just take some 24 gauge wire and wrap it in there. So I'll show you how I would do that. Now this is a great project for the pieces that you have around. I'm going to get the 24 gauge wire into the bead. And we're going to pass the wire, one in under the ring and one over that loop. And I'm going to use my needle nose pliers to make that wrap. I'm going to wrap this 4 to 5 times and make sure the wrap ends on the inside of that coil. There we go. And now I'm going to wrap this other side. And wrap these 5 times. Make sure your ends are tucked in. And snip the wire on the inside again. So there's your ruby, and I'm thinking I'm going to do a pearl on the other side. So let me just get that out. So here's an old freshwater pearl that I'm going to add in here. And look at that beautiful pearl and ruby ring. Okay, so let's wrap this 5 times. There are 5 wraps for the pearl on that side, and here another 5 wraps to finish it off on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then snip that off and use my pliers to tuck that in. And there we have a beautiful gemstone ring. 3 different looks for the same technique. So you have a tight coil, a beautiful gemstone ring, or a loose coil. And you can choose to antique this or leave it bright and shiny. And then once you've perfected this technique, if you want to make this with silver wire, sterling silver wire, or gold filled wire, you could do that as well. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a beautiful day.